Good evening, Pongolese residents. Hope we can make the change and ensure that the Reform Party is being represented by the Pongolese people. What have other opposition done for the last 20 years? Sitting down and say yes and agreeing with them? Is this called opposition party? No census passed, no motion call. Is this what you want? If you want a change, I repeat again, my dear Pongolese residents, if you want a change, the change have to start from here. The reform have to start from here. History should say that Pongolese changed the history of Singapore. The real true opposition have to come from Pongolese. We are not asking for a chance. We are not asking for a chance. Rather, we are asking for an opportunity to represent your voice in the parliament. And through Pongolese, millions of Singaporeans' voices can be heard. You give us the opportunity to represent Singaporean voice in the parliament. For everything, we want quick fixes. Quick fixes for babies. Quick fixes for job and opportunities. Quick fixes for the population. What is this? Is this a factory? Or is this a company? Where are we heading on, Singapore? Where are we heading? What happened to our long-term plans? Where are the long-term plans? Where are the long-term plans? Something happened, send a fix. Something happened there, send a fix there. Something happened here, send the team there. This is not what we want. This is not supposed to be a ruling party. A ruling party should plan ahead and execute them. Not bring up policies and changes and different laws just to fix the problem temporarily. Whatever comes fast and furious will go in thin air as fast also. The government should remember this. Where are we heading now? The whole of Singapore, one by one, we are seeing is deteriorating. From the member of parliament to the government servant. Every day we are reading about the news of sex scandal cases. What's happening to Singapore? Are we seeing a small part of Singapore being slowly growing the cancerous cell, or do we want a whole solution to our problem? If an MP hold so many posts, how can he ever think about Pongolese? A MP should be a full-time MP, looking after the residents. Pongolese have less than 50,000. There are around 35,000 residents here. How can I do another job and also be MP to Pongolese? You can't do that. You need a full-time MP like Kenneth J. Ratnam to look into your problem, to look into your issue, so that you can be well represented in the parliament. Last year, September, Kenneth J. Ratnam brought up the case of Rivermail Plaza, I guess. And he's the first one who brought up the issue. And after which, the parliament looked into it. What's happening? What's happening, Singapore? The MPs who are supposed to look at your problem is not even concerned about it. So where does the problem lies? The problem lies with ourselves first, Singaporean. We have to make the change now. If not, future generation of our children will suffer. Okay? I don't want to say that let's bring foreigners, let's fill up the job. Everything we want to look at cheap labor, cheap salary. And this, you know what you're going to bring? If you look at everything cheap, our life and quality will become cheap. We have to change this perception and conception. We have to make the mindset now. We have to ensure that Singaporean come first. Those new Singaporeans who are here now, way down the road, a day will come for them to think like me also. They will also have children. And when you bring more foreigners, the same problem now Singaporeans are facing for unemployment, job opportunities. Whatever is happening now, 2 to 3 generations later, this thing will happen. And I'm sure about this. Not only that, simple thing, residents, simple thing, like giving birth, have to be written in a law. And giving an anti-Singaporeans if money. What's happening? Natural thing of giving birth have come to a very big question. And this put a question mark in Singapore. Why natural things are becoming unnatural? Because the living standard in Singapore is way high. Is way high. The houses are going for 200,000 to 500,000. In 5 years down the road, what's going to happen? That's a good one. 1 million Singapore dollars. When can we finish up the loan? We would be slave to the loan. The majority of the population cannot finish the loan in 30 years. If the current salary going on, and maybe they have to bring up new law, the son have to take over the loan. This is not a first world country. This is worse than a third world country. We cannot control the inflation of the HDB house. HDB means it belongs to the government. So what's happening in Singapore? Housing and development, a basic necessity, have skyrocketed. That young couples have to think 1,000 times before they even get married. And even then, can they get a house? How come suddenly we are facing so much of shortages? What happened to our plans? What happened to our long-term plans? How come suddenly there are 200,000 houses shortage? And suddenly they are pumping the market with 200,000 houses. These are basic necessities. We are not asking for anything more. We are asking the very, very basic survival things to lead our life. What's happening to our employment? Everything is being taken by foreign talent. This is the only place they call them foreign talents. Singaporeans have no talent. Singaporeans are all do not have talent. Do you agree with me? We Singaporeans are a proud nation. We came here 100 years ago and made this our country. And we want our Singapore back. We want our Singapore back for us and not for anybody. We can't hold responsible for the third world countries screwing up their policies and bringing in cheap laborers them here. This is not a solution. This is not a long-term solution. The money spent on bringing in the foreign talents can be spent on our children. Instead of building new housing estates, we could have built more universities, more training institutions, and retrain our people who are uneducated and who are unemployed. This is a basic necessities. We don't own anybody anything. Singapore, you own your life yourself. We have to wake up and face the reality. We want a strong voice to voice out our concern and care to the government and bring up national issue correctly and proficiently. This can only be done, I should say, if you take the 4 candidates without fear or prejudice. The only candidate who can do this for you is Kenneth Jeyaratnam. No one else. Remove the party. Remove the name. Who can better well represent you? An economy of a country is a major component. And we have a guy here, Mr. Kenneth, who is well versed not only by the books, with practical. He have handled billions of dollars. Don't you think he can handle Pongolese? We need a well-versed guy to represent Singapore as a whole. And Pongolese, this is your greatest opportunity to give back to Singapore. Take this opportunity well. You will be remembered in history that Pongolese made the wise choice. We don't want another MP, opposition or proposition. We don't want another MP to join in a group and blow the flute. Enough of all this. We want proper representation of Singaporean views in the parliament. This is what Singaporeans are asking for. This is what our Singaporeans are crying for. And give them this opportunity. This guy here is working all over Singapore. Not for a joke. Not for people and the camera to see. He is doing it out of sincerity. If he wants, he can get a job today and employed another day and get a 4-figure, 5-figure salary very easily. But he have this care and concern. The same guy, JB Jeyaretnam, the same guy who brought Singapore politics to the standstill. He have the same empathy towards Singaporeans. He have grown up with him, and he was well trained by him. So who is more well represented out of the 4 candidates? Today, you decide. Do not fear, my Singaporean, do not fear. The government is to serve the people, not to put them in fear. Remove the fear, and we can have a better day, not only for us, but for our future generation. We have to make a change now. We have to reform. We have to reform on every angle, on every part. From employment to education to housing. Every aspect and every angle of Singapore have to change from the root. We have enough of the last 50 years of the stories, promises given and broken many times. Enough. We want someone to represent us, to represent the people of Punggol East, and indirectly representing the whole of Singaporeans who are suffering. So Punggol East resident, I leave the choice with you. So in the future, you can feel safe and ensure that we enter Singapore into a new phase in the political life. The choice is yours. If you are willing to change, then we can have the change to start from Punggol East. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your time.